Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the An Informed State of Mind After Chat. Today on the panel we've got Luke Banter, Basic American, and Gadget Ninja 1, I believe. Um, Hopefully I didn't mess that up. I think I'm going to go around the panel and again have them do an introduction and have any thoughts that they might have wanted to carry over from the AISOM chat into the AISOM After Chat. Starting with Mr. Banter. Go ahead, please, sir.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks. Really appreciate you having me on, Intuitive. Certainly, this is the ISOM After Chat, so I guess you would have me on. But anyway, yeah, you know what? It was a really great, productive, primary chat certainly, and great panel we had there, and the outside was just, like I said, great discussions. So, I mean, we tidied up a lot of it certainly, but we're probably we got a little bit of leftovers in the topic, and I think they're important ones. So we'll probably, like I said, we'll touch base on those next week on the show, and we'll kind of stick with what you were going with this particular chat here tonight, and I'll let you take the lead. So, but anyway, yeah, good to see you. We got a couple people in the panel, and again, Gadget Ninja, fantastic seeing him on the panel. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, cool, man.
Always excellent to have you on, Luke. Seeing as how it is your after chat wouldn't really be right. Be a lot more fun, but it wouldn't be right. Mr. Basic American, please go ahead, sir.
This is me.
Excellent. That was awesome, man. I mean, so emotional, such an emotional statement.
Well, I don't really have much to say because I just joined. I don't make videos. I mainly just do some chats.
Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Thank you for joining. You always provide a very intellectual argument to this, and it's gonna be great. Patrick, sir, new to the panel, at least to the ISOM After Chat panel. Why don't you go ahead and give an introduction and tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're comfortable with at least, and explain to everybody what you believe in, well, a relatively short time. Go ahead, sir. You've been you're muted. So if you're talking,
yeah, I see that.
Yeah, there you go.
I see that. There we go. Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Good to go.
You can call me Patrick. Well, I believe in the Constitution as it is written. I'm not an Obama supporter. Some people have called me a troll before, and I know I'm not a troll, but basically that's me. I live in the West Coast. What else? That's about it. I'm not much of a talker either, so bear with me.
Well, that makes two of us. Great to have you on, sir. Try and run for sheriff, run for mayor.
What?
That was weird.
Well, I can't.
That was All right. Well, let's get started. Basically, the topic carrying over is: does your government hate you? And I managed to listen to the end of the ISOM chat, live chat, and I heard him. He wanted to get started on a couple of different topics. So, if it's okay with Mr. Informed State of Mind, I'd like to maybe do a preview of that at the end of this show to sort of kick off your next show and give a little bit of an introduction, almost like a preview at the end of a television show for your next ISOM chat. But yeah, for a continuation, does your government hate you? We ended up talking about what you can do to change why the current constitution, the current methods of politics don't work. I would love to have a lot of people join on this chat here, this very live chat. Explain to us, please explain to us what your thoughts are on why this current system does not work, or what we can do to make it better. Uh, Mr. Banter, do you have any thoughts?
I always have thoughts, and sometimes I express those thoughts. Certainly. Well, like I said before, yeah, I don't know if it's even a matter of our government hating us per se. It's just certainly it's hard to govern anybody if there's nobody there to govern. So certainly we are kind of essential to that purpose. Um, if you wanted to look further down the rabbit hole, certainly you would suggest it, and I think it leads us to bankers. There's no doubt about it, and the elite. And when we talk about the elite, we can talk about dynasties. We can talk about such names as the Rothschilds. Would be a good example, certainly, and many others. When you have dynasties such as those, I think that they are dependent on masses of individuals, certainly, to be led in a certain direction that, of course, benefits their particular dynasty or enterprise, if you would. So I think that it is very there is a relationship there, certainly. But again, I don't think I've said this before, and I don't know if we were live when we said it on an after chat, or if we were off air. The way I look at it is this: we could look further down the rabbit hole. I don't believe we can fundamentally change the dynasties. They will always be there. We will never find them, and that's just it. But I think it's important to recognize what it is at the end of that hole, if you would, in the rabbit hole, to understand just what exactly is at play. And then once you understand that aspect, you can start kind of working backwards from there. Then you'll understand why the government does what it does. In one sense, you could almost say you can't almost hold it against the government in one sense to why they do what they do, because they're almost puppeted just as much as what we are. And in this particular case, the brown stuff flows downhill, and we're at the bottom of that. But I think our government's basically, again, they in some aspects, I think there's a lot of people in the government that they think they're doing the right things, certainly, and I talk about that normalcy bias that takes place. And they take that normalcy bias as a citizen, and they take that up with them, a certain percentage of that normalcy bias, and then some of that gets shed for a new level of normalcy bias that the government officials before them, who are firmly in place and certainly know the system well enough, instills into them as a new normalcy bias to say this is the normal evolution of a government, and certainly our normalcy bias is certainly, and the masses believe that this is a normal progression or evolution of our society, and some are content with that. And certainly you could probably go through your life just playing the kingdom's game, if you would, or the system that's in place, and probably do okay. If you comply and you follow suit, you'll probably do okay, But again, I think that we might be coming into a particular place where we're going to feel a hurt. That's almost a whole other show, quite frankly. But anyway, there's my thoughts on it.
See, I don't know about that, because if I were running for president or whatnot, or even Senate, and I get in there and I have one of the higher-ups go, look, man, this is the way it works here. I don't care about no back-ass country you came from, but this is how we do things. I think I might have a few choice words to tell that person. Like, I don't know how are these people going, okay, I'll follow your lead. How does that happen? I feel like if somebody like me were to get in office, I'm not going to just back down to the first guy that says this is how it's supposed to work. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, which obviously it happens sometimes, but I don't understand the mental state of the person who is like, I gotta fall in line.
I don't know, because here's the thing. I'll look at it from even a law enforcement point of view that I know very, very well. One of the main things that even a training officer will say to the officers once they step out of the police academy and they get into the cruiser, almost one of the main things that always gets said, they'll look at the young rookie and they'll say, so whatever you learned in college or at the academy, forget it, because it's going to get you killed out here. Okay? I'm going to show you how it works here in the real world. And this is pretty much the same thing that happens, and I've heard a lot of government officials say the same thing. Up here, for instance, we've had ministers. Well, I was talking to a minister per se, and he said that, he got in a position thinking, hey, I got a lot of great ideas, and I think I can change some things. He said that there's so many agreements that are already been wrote into play, but not government officials, okay, not anybody we vote in, but these are all backdoor agreements and so on, and contracts that have taken place on free trade agreements or whichever, you scratch my back, I scratch your back, and these are contracts that have been put in place that have not had any transparency, certainly. And so when they come in there and they have all these different ideas and they go, you know what, hey, that is a great idea, but unfortunately we already have something in place that if we change what you're talking about, that great idea, and try to implement that, we are going to cause a ripple effect. And that is something we have to understand. You change one thing, and there's that butterfly effect, if you would, or a ripple effect, certainly, that could change a lot of other dynamics, and that's just not going to fit, because there's a very bigger picture, very much a bigger picture, I should say, at play. So if we change one thing, there's a good chance there's going to be that butterfly effect throughout the rest of it, and they say it can't work that way, and that's how to my mind, that's how I picture it, and it's almost I say it can't work any other way. Somebody, please, if somebody disagrees with me on this, and maybe there's somebody on the panel here that's going to disagree. Basically, just say no. I don't think that's right, Luke.
I can't say it's not right, because if something does happen, that might be what it is. But I'm just saying, if I were to find myself running for office, I can't say that I would change my mind. I'm not going to fold because somebody says this is the way it's supposed to work. I'd be like, no, I'm familiar with how it's supposed to work. This is the way it's supposed to work. I don't understand how these people just roll over. There's got to be something there that does it, because they do.
Well, one could say, let's just say this. Maybe I'm wrong, because maybe I don't know my American history well, but I'm going to use American history. Would I be right or wrong in suggesting that Kennedy was the last president who actually came in thinking, I'm going to change it? I'm going to change the world.
No, Obama's whole thing said he wanted change.
But
oh, he said it right there.
It tried to do it, and how far did that get him? You know what I mean?
I was just joking.
He's not around. We can't ask him. You know what I mean? So we can't ask him, unfortunately. His ideas were spelled on the back of the convertible, and that's unfortunate. But and again, it's rumored that he was looking at changing it. Maybe it's not even rumor. Maybe it's fact. He was going to change the machine. He was going to say, down with this and up with this. Enough of this. I'm putting a stop to this. And somebody in a higher up spot where there's no transparency, there's no elections that take place, some platform somewhere said, oh, no, you're not, because this is bigger than you. Unfortunately, this is what we see behind the curtains, what we don't see behind the curtains. And so that's just fundamentally not going to happen. So you got elected, that's fine, but that's not going to happen, right? And I think Obama was... he was a star. He came on and he came up and he says, yes, we can. Yes, we can. I'll tell you, he had Canadians fooled, for sure. Because, honestly, even when he was running, the people who watched it said, man, he is great. He's going to be great for the system down there. Man, we're going to see some real changes. We started saying it like we were Americans. We rooted for him. I was one of them. I really was. I said, look at this. Look at the turnout. I mean, for the inauguration, it was huge, massive. I thought, this is going to be it, man. We're going to see a big change. This is going to be great, because we're going to be part of that change up here in Canada. It's going to be 2 months later, we'll feel that ripple effect. Carl Grimsman on the outside, he was an actor. Still is, certainly. And a very charismatic actor. Very articulate and a wonderful speaker. Still is. Even though the shit that comes out of his mouth certainly is just that, I still like listening to him speak. I do. There's a certain way about it. Yeah.
That's part of the problem too, because Obama had all kinds of celebrities backing him too. Like I can't even think of them. There's a bunch of them, and the media was just all over him, and already I'm seeing ads and stuff, and the news is yelling about Clinton, and it's like I don't like where this is going at all.
Yeah. No, and that's it. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that voted for him, the first time around. Um, and again, I mean, there was a race part of it for me too. I said, this is the first black, American president. This is a big deal. I thought, hey man, you know what? He's going to make some huge changes. And look at what he's talking about. I fell for it. I don't believe I'll ever fall for anything again.
Well, what about the first woman president? Is she excited for that?
Yeah, I'm jumping for joy for that. If that happens, buddy, I'm telling you.
That's going to be a whole nother chat indeed.
Oh my gosh. I set a week aside for that one. Just to get people to calm down and stop throwing things at their computer.
Yeah, maybe maybe we can devote the Mexican holiday, the Day of the Dead, to it.
I keep thinking about that quote, you know what I mean? That she was on stage with that other fellow there. I'm sorry, I don't follow it as well as maybe others. They were talking about basically, invading Iran, and she was joking with the guy, essentially saying, "We're trying our best. We're trying our best." And I just said, that's it. And I said this a couple of years back, before all this stuff was going on with Iran, solidly as it is. I said, if she gets in and becomes president, you are going to war with Iran. You will be bombing the hell out of it. And it looks as though that's going that way. I don't know. It's spooky times. And even though we're Canadians, certainly we're still in. Stan Olk out there, another Canadian, he'd actually put up a video on his channel. It's probably still there, certainly. And he compared American and Canadians, and that cartoon, Bugs Bunny cartoon show, whichever, Looney Tunes. Anyway, it's the big dog, the big bulldog, and then he's got that little dog jumping back and forth and going, yeah, Spike, yeah, Spike. That's Canada jumping over America. You know what I mean? It was so funny. I thought it's so true.
Well, how can you liberal socialists know non-communist America?
You're going to have to repeat that, sir. You broke up real bad there.
I said, how can you socialist Canadians know what it's really like to be under a free country like America?
Free country is America. There's another show altogether right there, my son. I can assure you. Because, honestly, I don't know. Are you as free? There's another show altogether. In America, are you as free as you think you are? You know what I mean? That's a title. Actually, hey, Carl,
33.
Carl, can you write that down somewhere, buddy? In your country, are you as free as you think you are? Are you as free as the majority of the voters think you are? Maybe that's a better way of putting it. I think that's a good show. So, anyway. I don't know, buddy.
That'd definitely be a long show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything that was just said.
Rockshot 100 says Hillary won't get even close. She is guilty of way too much, and the public is aware of it. I would agree with that. And again, with those local numbers that have been pushed out there, saying basically huge amount of people sitting there going, no way, not happening. I would agree with that. But wouldn't it be funny though? Wouldn't it be funny if she, you know what I mean, got in? I would find that interesting. Not funny, certainly, but interesting. It would speak volumes, I think, right? And if we think that's actually going to take place,
I'll be allowed to vote next time.
So
I'll be allowed to vote next time, next election.
Who are you going to vote
and I am
for?
not voting for Monica Lewinsky's ex-boyfriend's wife.
Why not? When you put it like that, it sounds dirty. I'm just saying. Anyway.
Hey, look at all the good things she's done. Come on.
Who, Monica Lewinsky? Yeah, I suppose, but
we were all in toils, man. We were gonna impeach Bill Clinton for getting a blowjob, and we're just cool with Obama hanging out.
yeah, here's the other twist, and I've seen it out there already. People saying, "Don't worry about it. The election's not going to happen." When it is going to happen, because there's not going to be an election, because you guys are going to be in a state of crisis, so to speak. What do they call that? Somebody help me out there. What is that? I just draw a complete blank. Basically, when your president doesn't, there's no elections. Elections aren't placed. So bloody late here. Somebody on the outside tell me.
Talking like a time of war.
National state of emergency.
Hey.
You're right.
It's called a national state of emergency.
Right. When the elections stop, basically, when he will continue on. I don't know. I still think that there's a possibility that they'll push through a QE4 maybe, right? Just to keep you all afloat while the rest of this sort of plays out. And then basically from there, man, I don't know. I really don't know. Honestly, I'm worried. I really, truly am. As a Canadian, I'm worried. Hell, I wouldn't have moved to the East Coast of this whole island if that was the case. I really wouldn't have, right? I don't know. I might keep thinking I made the right choice by, making an early egress. But then it doesn't help if we start throwing around nukes either. I don't know if that's going to happen. But
I don't think that's going to happen because they want to take over too much to ever destroy what they would need to take over.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I mean, that's why I always say if there's going to be anything like that catastrophic, it would be EMPs, because basically it doesn't destroy the land or the air or anything like that. That becomes really friggin' serious. Again, it can start with a nuclear explosion, but not ground level certainly. But again, I don't know how that could play out, but yeah, I don't know.
Besides, if they killed off all the people, who would be their good little bitches?
Well,
I think that each other. They're sharks. Yeah, they will turn on each other when injured.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, look, China is making deals with everybody. China basically, they got the Asian currency backed banking venture well underway, certainly. Everybody's bailing in the U.S. So I would suggest that it's going to be. Well, China can draw from. They can draw from Africa. They can draw from Pakistan, India. I mean, all these places. There's an immense amount of people they can draw from. And again, I don't know. Carl says depopulation seems to be the agenda. I could agree with that to a certain degree, but I still think that they'd only depopulate the idea of maybe 15 million, right? Not as much as what some have said, what I've heard some say, because I think that, again, you're not going to get that many people to stand up. Even the people who say they may stand up, you're still going to get those percentage who are going to say, okay, you know what, we can't beat this, that's it, we're just going to comply, right? Even if you're talking about a martial law scenario, for instance, martial law scenario, most people are going to comply, and therefore martial law will not even need to take place in a lot of places, right? They say they don't have enough troops or enough manpower or enough resources to put martial law over the entire United States. But we got to remember, there's going to be a lot of places that are not going to be required, right? Or not going to require any really, enforcement. They're just not going to be big enough. So they use those resources basically to, manage the places that will. And again, I'm not even so sure I believe in the FEMA camps on the basis that most people do. I know we've talked about that certainly a million times, but they depopulate in cycles. Yeah. That's true too. I mean, that's historic, but yeah, I don't know. Even Carl says in the U.S., public disarmed. I don't know. To me, let's just look at this rationally, okay? I don't think they're going to start taking firearms because I don't think they can. I don't really think they can. I think that a lot of it is, to me, it almost seems like they're trying to put bans in place and so on, so basically people will go out and they'll buy as much ammunition as they can. It worked with the 5.56. I mean, think about that, for instance. People started going up there and buying the hell out of these rounds. It's almost like they're trying to arm the American people who are most likely to stand up, so then they have a reason to go ahead and pop, pop, pop. You know what I mean? So it's almost self-selection. And again, as far as the majority of the American people will suggest that they're not firing on American people. They're firing on enemy combatants, right? And there is a difference, certainly, right? I mean, if you were in law enforcement or in the military, would you shoot at somebody who was shooting at you, right? As perceived threat, regardless whether or not your normalcy bias, was well in place and you didn't see it as you starting it, right? You just seen it as you were doing what was lawful and right. I keep thinking about that, as being the larger picture, but I don't know.
That's a good point. Prepper Madness in the external. Thank you for watching Prepper Madness. He said the Georgia Guidestones say a max, get this, a max of 5 million people.
Yeah.
He says a max of 5 million people population is the goal. Unless I'm reading that number wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm not. Here's the thing. My opinion on the Georgia Guidestones is, I guess, somewhat different than what a lot of people say. My question is this: why would they put their plan right out in the open, to where anybody can see it? Doesn't that kind of eliminate the reason to be secretive? That they're just going to put their plan right out in the open?
Some people have said that.
Or is it a declaration of what they're going to do?
Some people certainly said that they're
Better place to hide. Sorry.
Yeah, some people have said that they've gotten so bold about it because the fact is they know it's a win-win for them. They don't.
That's like.
Go ahead, Patrick.
Patrick, you had something you were saying there? I cut you off. I apologize, sir.
No, it's okay. I said, what better place to hide it out in the open?
Yeah, no, I believe you there. And again, the masses don't. Look, the majority of the people don't follow. What some would say the truth, right, or perceived truth. A state of awareness. If that was the case, then we would in fact have many, 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 many numbers. When in fact we don't. We have numbers certainly, but we're not as organized as they are. They do this every single day, right? And even certainly militias, part-time, right? It's part-time, and the resources that they have is endless, and we pay for it, right? We pay for those resources to be eventually used upon us if that was what was going to happen. If that's what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, I just don't buy it. It just doesn't make sense. Why would you put your plant out in the open? That's the way I view most of the theories surrounding things like the Georgia Guidestones or secret Illuminati messages hidden in Katy Perry's performance. Stuff like that. It doesn't make sense. Yes, you should. If anybody could join, you can join the chat room here, where we're talking live, by clicking on the link below. It is in the description. It'll be a Google Plus link titled Panel Link. Click on that. It'll bring you right inside to the chat room. It's an open panel. Please join, contribute, and it's going to be a good time. Yeah, please come and explain. Come and explain. If you have a different opinion than us, please. We love being proved wrong, don't we, Luke?
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely like hearing other things. There's no doubt about that. Patrick dropped off. Gadget Ninja got lost his connection. Gadget, if you can get your connection back, jump back in for sure. And yeah, I was ISOM. You know, on the AISOM platform certainly, and over here on the after chat certainly, we're trying to keep it an open panel so that we can do that. Keep the conversation going and so on. And like I said, I've tried this. I've tried desperately in the past to get, even when the Ukraine crisis was hot, I was trying to find people who are pro-Ukraine, pro-Russia, you know, to get on the panel when we were talking about that. I went out and sought those people out in the YouTube, and I thought, you know, they've got a powerful channel. They're got great videos, and I found at least a dozen. 6 from either side, and send invites out, and I couldn't get them here. So not because I wasn't trying, but that's just it. I think that we would all benefit certainly from having those different opinions put in here. So that's definitely important. But
yeah, I completely agree. That's why I like doing your after chat, because you set up a good platform. You set up a good platform, an honest platform. You know, if I can mooch off that platform as long as I can, I will. You know, but yeah, it's like you said it earlier. The more opinions we can get in here, the more we learn. I would love one show, maybe if we can even get a regular. I would love to have one show where a liberal came on and just not fought us. Then, you know, I notice a tendency that most liberals tend to call names and pretend they've won. You know, but if we could get a liberal who was actually willing to debate their position, anybody who doesn't believe the same values as we do when it comes to politics, not just liberals, anybody, that would be such a great opportunity.
Oh yeah, well, there's no doubt about it. You know, I'll always stand to be corrected. I stand to be corrected, certainly. This is why I actively watch a lot of other channels, and definitely channels that are outside of my way of thinking, just to try to find another perspective. Even some generally like-minded people, they'll always have a different spin, which I think is valuable.
That's true.
Yeah. Without a doubt. That's why that side chat again is important too. Some people can't get in, you know, maybe don't have the ability to come onto the panel or whichever the case is. But that's it exactly. A couple of great points out there. Stan said, you know, the best way to hide something is in plain sight, and the psychopaths like to torment their victims. You know, and I guess Carl getting an agreement there, as I. Pepper Mattis, the Katy Perry stuff is just distraction, and all the other silly crap like that, and that's true too. It is about that. It is about distraction. It is about the fear porn. The fear porn we talked about, that fear is a very powerful weapon, right? Very powerful. There's no doubt about that. And that's right,
Fear is the
Pepper.
most powerful weapon.
Yeah, Prep Magic just said, they like to make us think that we are helpless. And again, it's the government is what I find the government is, and I go back to the idea that, it doesn't really matter what, um, you think you're doing in voting, because once the votes are in, it's now you're not trustworthy anymore. You can't make decisions for yourself anymore. Let let Big Papa government take care of you, right? Don't worry about it. No, we don't need to tell you about it. That's just going to scare you. You know what I mean? You're not going to understand it. That's what we're here for. And but the media is going to push out what the government agenda is, I would suggest, and propagate that fear. Right? Ebola would be a very good example of that. Now, was Ebola serious? Certainly it was. Was it serious in America? I wouldn't suggest it was. Was it serious in Canada? No. Did we make an action plan for it? Yes. Was it responsible? Certainly it was. But were they were they pushing it a little too hard? Probably, right? Um, but then again, I don't know. You know,
Alberta Anarchy in their chat room posted, I've been led to believe that they put their plans out there to encourage us to fight amongst ourselves, kill the strongest of us, and then they just have the sheep again.
yeah. Um, this, this is kind of what I think. And I've talked about that martial law scenario, and I think the fact of uh, putting that fear that they're going to take away all the ammunition and so on. That is the majority ammunition certainly. Um, it's like, again, arming the people who are most likely to uprise, and then basically putting something in place that's going to cause that uprise, push us to the limit, and then, well, that would take care of those people, right? Again, I don't see the would-be FEMA camps like everyone else does. I think the FEMA camps is part of the continuity government. Now, again, continuity government is important, certainly, to a degree. If there was any kind of catastrophe, whether or not it was domestic terrorism or foreign terrorism, you would expect your government to do something to maintain the government so we could have our infrastructure running the way it should run, right? Now, I'm not suggesting it's running the way it should run now, but like I said, we can still turn our hydro on, we can still shop in relatively peace and safety. Our kids can go off to school on their own, we can go off to our jobs and so on and still keep playing the kingdom's game. And again, like I said, I think you could probably go through life playing along and live to a ripe old age of 90 years old, had your full retirement, if you were lucky, certainly, and, infrastructure wasn't yanked out from underneath your feet, certainly. There's a possibility. I've had that discussion with somebody before. They said, look, everything we talk about, we were talking about this 30 years ago. What we're talking about now, And I've had this discussion with a few people, a couple of people who are actually out on the outside right now. And nothing happened. I beg to differ, mind you. But something has happened. It's that slow boil, right? And again, I've said this in chat before. If you had somebody from 30 years ago, you put them to sleep, and you woke them up to today, what would they think, right? Would they recognize the country that they fell asleep in 30 years ago? It would be interesting if they were not exposed to that slow boil, right? Let me think about that for a second. Never mind about the technology, but think about the mindset that was in place then. If they looked at their government, looked at how things were, and they look at it today, where we're at, and they had a chance to sit around and really take it all in. Like, wow, eh? Wouldn't that be something? They weren't exposed to that slow boil. It would be that sudden, that suddenness. That would be an interesting conversation to have with that individual.
Wait,
Yeah.
that would be an awesome conversation to have.
If they lived that long, you know what I mean? Because they might go, "What happened?" What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't think somebody like that would be interested in having a conversation at that point.
No, but you know, you know what I mean? Once you straighten them out, you know what I mean? They had a chance to get over everything.
So my dad was much more aggressive and but similar thought than I am. He was one who says we got to take this shit. He was a big Y2K nut when that went down, and so he armed up for that, and then he started. That's when he started getting political. And I grew up in the house where like yeah, government was not. We didn't even talk about it because my dad get riled up and go crazy. Like we got to do something. So I try to stay away from that as much as possible because I feel like a lot of people kind of shy away from those people too.
True. Yeah, true.
It worries me. I feel like that's what it's going to boil down to eventually.
Yeah, yeah. You know, another thing too is I think that, and again, maybe I'm off base on this. Maybe I'm way down too far down the road on this one. But sometimes I think that some of the things that we think we you know is a win, you know, for the people. We go, yeah, we got a victory. You know, we fought this and we tried hard and we stood up and we did everything right. You know, changed it. You know, it just goes to show you we can change it. Is it really a win? Or do they throw us the odd bone to make us believe that we actually have power, that we have the win? It's kind of like, you know, they say, hey, we want to, you know, they drum up the support because we're going into elections. If you got a two-party system, which you have in the United States as far as I'm concerned, you only need three idiots to basically have one of those particular parties get into place. You don't need 80% of the population to make that happen, right? So, you know, so really, what is the big deal? Why do they want everybody to vote, right? To cancel out the other one? Oh, we need another one to cancel out that one. Oh, we need another one to cancel out that one. Okay, sure, maybe I'll buy that. I'll go down that conversational road. But what if it's basically just to take stock and to say, the people are still playing your game. Look, we've got 68% that are definitely still playing our game. We could probably prospect that we've got 20 more percent that are still playing our game that just didn't come out and vote. Right? Just to get stock of the numbers. So maybe I'm going way too far down the road. But I sometimes keep thinking that. Right?
Well, who is they though? I mean, that's one thing that's driving me nuts. So we can figure out who they is. And
well, that depends. I say the government certainly, but if you're talking about they, well, they they basic. I don't think we're supposed to know, right? And if you're talking about they, I mean like they, no, we'll never know that. We've never known that. We never will know that. We're not supposed to know that, right? And that's what I'm saying. You know, if you want to truly fight the system, forget it. It won't happen. Right? Syria was a win. I don't know about that. Again, no, I'll say rock shot. Maybe that was thrown. Maybe rock shot that Syria was basically. If that's your opinion, your humble opinion. Was that one of the things they throw at us to say, "Yay, it was a win"? Meanwhile, it was the whole time it was meant to be a win. You know, maybe I could be wrong, right? But I mean, I don't know. Not that. Stan.
Ladies and gentlemen, Prepper Madness has joined the internal chat, and as I say that, he has also left the internal chat. So, I'm not sure if he's having connection problems or if he decided that he suddenly didn't want to be on the panel. But
No.
thanks for showing up anyways. Hopefully you can get the connection problem sorted out. But yeah. I would like to address something in the chat room. Two things, actually. Stan Alt said, like gun control, the masses of the weaker think unarming the populace is a benefit for societal safety. But yet there's more of them, so they get to tell you that you can't have a tool. He goes on to say, that's the problem I see with democracy. I'd like to clear something up. Despite what many people think, the United States is not a democracy. It is a constitutional republic. The laws dictated by the Constitution dictate the way we act, or certainly dictate the way we should. Those are the laws. The Constitution is the laws. Okay, we are not a democracy. If we were a true democracy, then 51% of the people would vote, and by their voices, whoever they would want. Then the other 49% would not get anything of what they wanted. All it takes is 3 people for a democratic society. You could have all the liberals who are uninformed, all the people who are uninformed. You could have them vote the rest of us into jail, and we would have to follow it due to a democratic society. It's a great theory, like every other political theory. It is a great theory until presented with people who have an agenda. The other issue. Rockshot 100 says, intuitive survival, what is your problem with me? I'm not sure I understand. I don't have a problem with anybody on the panel except Banter, and that's because he's Canadian. But I try not to hold it against him.
Thank you for that.
If you could come on the panel, Rockshot, and explain to me what you meant by that, or maybe type it out in the YouTube chat, that would be greatly appreciated, because if there's any problem between anybody on the panel and anybody in the chat room, I would like to get it cleared up fast, because that is not what we're going after.
Stan says, I understand the 2 different system. That's why I like the U.S. system. In its infancy, that is. It was supposed to stay in its infancy. I'm not entirely sure at what point it's turned into this cluster bomb that we have right now. But at some point we got away from the way it was supposed to work. And I think part of the reason why we're where we're at now is because in order to try to fix it, we keep passing more laws, and then we stack some more laws on top of it when we have our laws. And instead of going back to fix it, we just keep adding more crap to it to fix it. That's it. Go ahead.
Oh, that was a great point.
No, I think, let me just clear that thing up on the outside. I think originally he'd said, Rockshot, just to let you know, I think basically what he meant was Carl, and he asked Carl to join the panel, and then you'd said something and he said join the panel. It's not meaning anything by it except inviting you to come on the panel so we can just hear you live. I think that's all it was.
Yeah.
That was all it was.
I didn't
wasn't
mean to say...
you know, he wasn't asking you to step outside. You know what I mean? So I think that was just a...
Yeah, I wasn't saying that you're not taking an active part in the conversation. I'm just asking. I ask everybody. One of the first things I say when the chat is shown after introductions is that there's a live panel link. You can click on the link below. Come on and join us. All you need is a microphone. You don't even need to have a camera. You don't even need to have a microphone. You can just type in the internal chat if you wanted to. But yeah, it's much easier to talk voice to voice, and that's why I always do an open panel chat, is to encourage conversation. Alright, I try not to have a regular panel, but it's also kind of weird because I also at the same time try to have a regular panel, because usually the people who join the channel are good, solid, fundamentally sound people. And I'm not saying anybody who stays in the outside chat is not. You know, yeah, you've noticed it's a lot easier to talk than it is to type.
We also have an issue with like text delay. Like we don't see your things till like 15-20 seconds after, and it's hard for us to go back and get in there. So it's better if you got something you want to say to be in here, so we all hear it and it's still in the context of the conversation.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There's a live feed delay. Usually about 45 seconds is the live feed delay. Sometimes it's even 2 minutes. It depends on where you are and what the feed connection is. You know, even if you wanted to, I mean, certainly you could do it like the way they run radio stations if you wanted to. You call in, or in this case, click the link, ask your question, and if you if you don't want to stay on, you could just hop on out and we'll answer your question to the best of our abilities. Uh, Certainly, we encourage everybody to stay in and be an active part in the voice and visual conversation because, and I'll tell you why, inflection in the voice, the tone of your voice, and the amount of passion you put into it really, really shows your conviction. It really shows the way you think, and sometimes text can be misconstrued. You know, it's we've all been someplace where we've all been in that situation where we've misconstrued the text in the chat room as a guy. Maybe you thought he was making a joke, or maybe you thought he was being unnecessarily angry, and it turns out he was saying something completely different. But the words just don't they just don't have that inflection.
Yeah, it's called lost in translation. The idea is that basically, unless you can actually write very, very well in a short little sentence, it's very hard to express yourself. And like I said, it's
true.
One of those things. But no, look, if I got a problem with anybody in the chat out there, I'm going to tell Stan right away. Right? Oh. Just kidding, Stan. Love you, brother. Anyway.
Yeah, Rockshot, I am not being insulting. I mean, trust me, when I get insulting, you know it. It's usually right after somebody says something. I'm not saying you have, and I'm not saying you will, but I can't. Well, basically, if you said something so completely stupid like murder is fine, or the Constitution is outdated, something so incredibly stupid. Now, on the second one, the Constitution's outdated. I'd love to have you pop in and explain that. But
well, it is old as hell.
Yeah, so is the ground you walk on.
Luke, I was wondering, if I were to somehow make a magical law that says I could vote you president, from a Canadian citizen, and I made you president of the U.S., I was wondering what would be your ideal your ideal way to fix the current state that the U.S. is in, because I don't have enough information on what state you're in, what kind of state you're in. But how would you think would be the best way to fix what we're in the middle of?
First and foremost, I would basically make sure that I would want to try to put people to work. I would, and one of the things is food production. That would be one of the biggest things. I would open up the lands like Asa had talked about, and I would say that people who didn't have jobs, you're now farmers, okay? And we're gonna network to make sure that happens. I'm gonna encourage everybody, okay, to find arable land in their neighborhood, and do that certainly. We're gonna try to get away from the current monetary system and how it's set up. I would get away from that as quickly as we could, but I couldn't. I don't think you could do it just like opening up a cupboard door and closing it again. There it is. We're out of it now. That would be too catastrophic for the system. But that would have to be implemented slowly but surely. Education would be revamped as well. The American Constitution would be put firmly back into the schools, starting at the youngest age that we could project, that the youth would understand, and to keep that alive and well. And it would be something wrote into the Constitution that it could never leave under any circumstances. It would be a form of treason, and anybody who even propagated to the idea of removing it from the education system would be immediately pushed from the country, exiled, killed, whatever, because I suggest that that's one of the major issues. I would also take the...
You gotta hold on there, Luke.
Yeah.
If you're just saying you're gonna exile people for their ideas, that's going against the Constitution itself.
No. Well, then fine, we change that. This is part of the problem, right? The idea is that you have somebody who can interfere with the Constitution and sway people. All you need is that idea to go rogue. I mean, and that's it, right? and no accountability process, you have a problem, right? So
I think
you're saying you're going to allow somebody to have the freedom to interfere with the Constitution. Well, then that's part of the problem,
yeah,
right?
well, I think what he's saying interferes. That no, you have the freedom of speech. You could be like, oh, this Constitution's a piece of crap, yada yada yada. But to
Oh, sure.
actively try to pull it out of politics is a totally different thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
right. I mean, that
Yeah,
was it.
I get what you're saying.
I mean, that's what I would definitely do with that. But the other thing is that allow people to basically have, well, even what AISA says, free enterprise and so on. Bring the industry home, and if it's not bringing it home, fine, you keep it. We only go outside of the country for things that we absolutely cannot acquire here, right?
Like
Otherwise,
maple syrup.
well, maple syrup, exactly. Really good point. And we trade things that are sensible, and it is on a fair market value. We don't trade a barrel of grain, okay, for 96 cents for a barrel of oil at $96. That just doesn't happen, right? You trade that barrel of oil for a barrel of grain, and it's the exact same price. I mean, just as an example, certainly. But I think that we have. Um, I don't know. It just to me there's just so many things that seem extremely simple. And again, the corporatism bit too. Nobody's allowed to come here and build a company and have a flag of convenience. You either are an American company or a Canadian company, or you're a foreign company. And if you're a foreign company, you're going to pay more taxes than the company that's here. And Canadian born. Even if you are creating jobs here, because I still think that's there's a certain problem with that. But I don't know. Calm down, kill people, have they attack you. What? My personal code of ethics is do no harm, non-aggressive principles. Luke, please calm down, kill people, have they attack you. What does he mean by that?
I think he's referring to when you were talking about they tried to pull the Constitution out of schools. He said exile them or kill them.
No, look, you have a basic set of principles in your country, right? It seems like in your home or seem in whatever the case is, and this is just you kill somebody. But look, if someone is trying to tear down a basic set of principles, that needs to be in place. There is no negotiation with that, right? It needs to be the majority, an educated majority, right? Through an honest voting system if there's going to be a change, right? I'm not suggesting, you disagree that education is key. What? Jobs are key. Buddy, you can't keep jobs here without education. Look, rock shot. Listen, buddy, now I got a problem.
Well, I don't know, because he says 30% of college students. I think college is becoming obsolete. I think what he's referring to is education as far as our, because we've had this discussion several times where we don't think our political system, our republic, is in our schools enough. They don't understand how it works. If nobody really knew the Constitution anyway, how would you know if they were taking away your constitutional rights, et cetera, and so forth? I don't think you were referring to the whole educational system, were you, Luke? I could be wrong.
No, actually, I didn't read the second part of it. I got to it before I started giving him hell. So I apologize for that. Thank you for pointing that out. First off, college students, most colleges are private. Most colleges are businesses. Most colleges will pump out courses when there's not even an expectation of getting a job. So there's majority of your problem right there. And that is alive and well in Canada as well. So why would you even offer a course when there's no respectable idea that they're actually going to get the job when they leave, right? And the other thing is, when you talk about the education system, thumbs down, right? 30% of the college students are unemployed. Wake up! I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. Wait for that delay. Rockshot, you'll hear what I'm saying. Maybe you still won't agree with me. I don't know, but I'm saying that majority of all colleges, okay, in Canada anyway, I don't know what they're like in the States, but even, look, if Mark from Scouting Free was here, he would tell you, there is majors that you guys have in the United States and here in Canada that he says there is no freaking way that we would even offer that as a major in Germany because it's pointless. There's just no way. And it's basically like giving false hope and robbing them. And there's the other thing. Why is it so much? Well, I'll tell you why it's so much money. Because it's a corporation. It's business, right? I mean, that's it. Look, there's other countries who offer education for free, and it's good education. And you're right. Basically, you're exactly right. I was talking about kindergarten to grade 12. The basic principles and fundamentals are instilled while they're young, right? If we're still going to play that game, okay? Like I said, if we're going to play the existing game that we had or have or whichever. But basic principles need to be instilled in the schools. And so when they're coming out of school every year, someone's coming out with a firm set of understanding of the Constitution. So we don't have a mass amount of people now not even understand. Don't even understand. You know what I mean? What the Constitution is, no one heard of it. Right? They don't understand the rights are. You know how many times in law enforcement somebody said to me, I know my rights? And I go, really? Do you? They'll explain it to me. What gives me the right now to take your freedom from you? Right? And they go, well, you don't have that right. But I do. It's wrote right there. You try to have rights and freedoms. When I explained it to you, I told you have rights. Here they are. I'm allowed to take your freedoms from you temporarily or arbitrary, however you look at it, but it's wrote right there in the laws. Providing I tell you what you're under arrest for, I give you counsel, give you the right to telephone counsel, be in counsel with someone. It's all there. If you didn't agree with it, well, then you should get back to your parliament and get that shit changed. I don't see the lineups, though. Alberta, I don't know what you keep talking about. Killing people if they have not aggressed upon you. Not nice, man. What? Where are you getting that from?
I believe he's talking about, you said, he's still talking about when you said that if they transgress upon the Constitution or even try to
okay. Maybe
change
bad
that, then,
wording. All right, bad wording on my
yeah,
part. I apologize.
that's what he's talking about. Now, on the other side of that, Alberta, he clarified that later on. If you might turn that little slider back and listen to just a few seconds actually after he said that, he said if they actively try and change this, and remember this is his way he would put the country back in shape what he thinks is best. He said that if they try and actively change the country, and if they actively try and change it
what if I worded
against
it
the
this way?
Constitution.
Right. What if I worded it this way? What if I worded it like basically, look, I don't know. If you killed somebody who was actually trying to lead the entire nation into doom, okay, into tyranny, all right, to take all the people and basically slowly kill the entire population, would you not suggest that that would actually be ideal if you could look down the road and see this projection and say, look at history, look where we were before. These are our principles. They're set in stone. We do not change them. Okay? They're principles, and they're here because they're just. They're fair. This is what leads us, right? And we've all decided this is best for us and good for us. And if you knew that somebody was trying to lead us into all of us slowly dying, would you not suggest that they would be justified to actually go ahead and then maybe actually say that person needs to be executed for treason, right? To try to actually convince us that we need to take education, true, principled education out of our education system? I don't know. And we've had the argument before, basic. I think you were the one that brought the argument up. We shouldn't depend on so much on our government or our schools to actually teach our children. Take some responsibility of your own. It starts at home. I agree with that. I agree that we definitely should be responsible for that. But how do you do that when you have people that are fighting you every step of the way? As soon as you march them out the door, they're teaching them something completely different. It's a constant battle. How confusing is that? Hey, probably better start homeschooling. Take back a little bit of it, right? Still got to go out into the streets and follow the direction of the kingdom. They still have to go into a system of potential tyranny, right? I don't know.
certainly.
Oh, Alberti, Luke, you're scaring me, man. I don't know what I've said here, really.
Stan Ulch, great quote, man. Great quote. But only if you can turn big green and beat the crap out of tanks.
Yeah. Remember the old Hulk, though, when he was actually more realistic?
Well, that's because he was played by a real guy.
Yeah, well, that's true.
As the Rock shots, 30% of all college students are no longer have a job. That means 70% of all college students have a job. That's a pretty big number by anybody's standards.
Well, but I don't think that'd make that right. See, my wife's a nurse, and she come out of college. She had like $12,000 in debt. Now, it's still messed up if somebody were to go to school and they're 12,000. And the only reason why it was that low is because she was paying out while she was going. It's pretty messed up. If somebody drops 20 grand, 15, hell, 5, and then they can't get employment to help pay that back. And I get it. And then, I'm not going to school for cosmetology because I know I'm not going to be very good at it. If these schools don't shy you away from that, they go, yeah, sure, come on in here. We'll let you be a satellite repairman. Come here, we'll teach you. The whole thing is messed up. But everybody's noticing that because there's a huge amount of people who just aren't going to college now.
Yeah, there is too. And I don't agree with that either. I mean, they should be going there with a realistic expectation of being able to get a good education for the money that they're paying for it. And I believe, you know what, hey, if you want a good education, it is the system we have. You're going to have to pay for it. But don't just look at it from, that aspect. Because an education is really important. Knowledge is absolute power. But be careful what you're paying for, right? It is a good investment. It's an investment in your life, right, for the rest of your life. But you need to be very careful, right, and really take some time with it, because it will be a good portion of your life that you're paying that sucker back. And in Alberta, yes, I agree. If there was a particular way we could exile the monster, yes, I would suggest that's the way to go, for sure. Okay, I definitely
Send
agree
them to Canada.
No, don't send them to Canada.
Australia was Britain's popular dumping ground, wasn't it?
Yeah, but look at it now. I mean, you're talking about they took a prison and turned it into a country and a continent.
Yeah, crafty little
I don't think we want that to happen again. I think they were sending. I think at one time Britain tried to send all the politicians, and now that resulted in Australia.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I find this interesting. And one reason why I asked you what you would do to fix it is because everybody I talk to, even people I don't agree with, even you guys know 420 Homestead, I don't particularly agree with him hardly ever. Something he's anarchist. I forgot what he called it, but anyway, we had a big long discussion. But he had some really good points that needed to be fixed. And I was like, oh my god, yeah. And we're all on here discussing this. And when I asked you about it, you were saying stuff. Stan out there was posting all kinds of stuff, and everybody else is posting stuff. I'm like, man, we need to take all this. We'll form out a plan, and then we'll hand it to, I don't know, Hillary Clinton, so she can fix everything. But you know what I mean? Like, there's a way to fix this. Like, look at all these damn ideas here. Just I want to take all this, run it by the Constitution a little bit, strain it out, make sure everything, is kosher, and then throw it out there.
Yeah, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with your Constitution. I've had a real good look over it, and I just think that there should be some things in there that makes it a little less plausible that the people can fail it, right? And I think most people understand that is how it is, right? So let's put some accountability in there, right? Like Mark had suggested, which I think is an amazing idea. Right? You put a jury in there basically to do a job review. Hell, every one of us at some particular point is going to have a job review. So why shouldn't the government? And you say, well, there is a job review every 4 years. You got to give them time to go in and make the changes, right? And I understand that concept, because if it takes 2 years to screw up a problem, it's going to take double the amount of time to fix it, right? And that is usually a principle that most understand. I would suggest in most cases that is probably correct. And I say most because there is some exceptions to that rule. But because you don't want to, would cause a shock. You know what I mean? That could be almost more detrimental than the actual change created itself. It's I don't know. Rock shot, man. Wow, rock shot. I wish you could get your camera fixed, buddy. I'd almost send you that stuff. Hook it up, buddy. Because I'd like to have the conversation with you live. Because I don't want to lose. I don't want to have anything lost in translation with you. I mean, that's for sure. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm an engineer, and all of our jobs are offshore. That's my point. And that is a point, though. And I'm glad you emphasize point. That's the other problem. Look, we've got students here, for instance, that are leaving our country to go get an education. And are they bringing that education back home again? In some cases. Some cases, even, there's students from China that are coming over here to get an education. We provide an amazing platform to gain that education. Then they take it right back out of our country again. Well, then that was the business, right? That was the business we provided, and we reap the rewards of that. It's only a small part certainly, but it's kind of like when I say, look, I don't want to train students. I want to train trainers, because then I'm actually training. I'm not just training 12 people, 12 students. I'm training 300 by training trainers. So if that's maybe we took our education system, I want to educate leaders, and they will go out and do the same thing, educate people to be better than them. Like us as parents, certainly, we want our kids to be better than us. At least I would suggest, right? So shouldn't we be doing that in our schools? Shouldn't we try to be, as a collective, as a country, to say we're not going to put that pressure on our students to have a debt? We're collectively going to take care of our future by paying for that education to make sure they have an education that's going to benefit us here at home, right? Instead of having them being interested in other countries, right? I understand that there's a balance to that, and we are going global. I understand that as well. But what if we just try to fix things in our own country first and make sure that we're taken care of before we start trying to be global? And somebody would say, well, we were okay, and that's why we went global, right? Well, somewhere along the lines, something went wrong. Something went wrong.
Yep, that's true.
You
I think we need to start wrapping it up, folks. I'm a little past the time I wanted to end this, but it was a good chat. It really was. Rock shot, buddy. Yeah, you need to get your camera, at least your microphone, up and running, man. Join the live panel. It'd be great to have a discussion, man. Great. All of you guys, in fact. All of you. I'd like to thank the panel, Informed State of Mind, and Basic American. I will leave you two with an outro. Start with Basic American, because we always let the Americans go first and not the Canadians.
It's a good plan.
It's just because they're
Go ahead,
have to let us go first.
That's true. You got to give them that. Go ahead, sir.
Well, that's it. I mean, I can give you a quote. No, actually, earlier. Hold on. Somebody said half the quote. Democracy is two wolves and a lamb voting over what to have for lunch. Liberty is a well-armed lamb contesting the vote. And that was Benjamin Franklin. I heard somebody alluded to this quote. Now, I really like this quote. I forgot all about it.
Excellent quote, sir. That is one of my personal favorites. It helps people see that. It helps them realize U.S. is not a democracy. Certainly, we use part of the democratic platform. That's what makes it great. We use parts from several different ideologies, as well as having a standing platform of a free republic. That makes it all worthwhile. Like you said, two wolves and a lamb. We already know what's going to be for supper if they're voting. But what happens when you give the lamb fangs? Suddenly the wolves aren't quite sure what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great quote. Mr. Batter, a.k.a. AISOM, a.k.a. an informed state of mind.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
No, I mean, I appreciate first and foremost you having the after chat, following up on a great show, live show over in ISOM, regular show certainly, and yeah, I mean, we got really interactive certainly with the outside. It would be nice. It'd be nice to have everybody on the panel certainly, and I hope nobody at any given time goes away, misunderstood or anything to that nature. I enjoy the dialogue. And Rockshot, definitely, I'm speaking directly to you, sir, because I definitely don't want you to go away. And Alberta Anarchy, same with you as well. So, Stan, well, you're excused because you're Canadian. But that's it. Brian McCowan, glad you were listening along, certainly. And Biddy Boo, Biddy Boo. I see you out there. You should probably talk tomorrow. And yeah, the rest of y'all, thanks very much. Really, really great. So, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, we probably could have went hours with this. But yeah, that's awesome, buddy. Thanks, really, really, I really appreciate you doing the after chat, man. It's really good.
It was great to have you. It really was. I enjoy talking. I enjoy having this panel. I think if I were ever to do a regular panel, it would be Mr. Basic American here, you, myself, and a few others I'm still trying to work up. Also, I'm going to let everybody know I'm in the plans and the making. There is an intuitive survival chat coming up. I'm going to do probably a test episode here soon. Don't know when. Hopefully soon. And yeah, hopefully we get a lot to think about. Else in the external chat, we've got Rockshot, of course, Biddy Boo Brown, we've got Stan Ulch, Ezra Discovered, Jim Collectible. Video was in for a while, it might still be in. Brian McCowan, of course, an informed state of mind. So many people joined on. Carl Grimsman, I like that guy. He needs to come on sometime. Prepper Madness, Gadget Ninja 1, and Mr. Tom and Boy 9.
Yeah, Prepper Madness. Good to see him, man. Another Canadian. Good guy.
Well, he was in for it.
Yeah,
he was in for a while.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
For about,
good to have on.
Thank you all for watching. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button, the share button, any other buttons that look good. Go ahead and press those ones as well. Go ahead and check out ISOM's chat, and got a whole string of chats. Number 4. This is the after chat number 4. He's got 34 chats. Imagine that, 34. That's a lot.
No.
Yeah, each one of them's a little jewel. Each one of them is better than the next. It's awesome.
And talk about obsessive. Jeez.
No, I hate 34.
Yeah. Yeah, someday, Banter, you'll get that little joke I put in there.
Yeah, I imagine I will.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you all for watching. Have a great night, and yeah, also I'm going to be leaving the panel link up if you want to join. It won't be live. You can still talk to whoever's left. I got to get going. I got an early morning tomorrow, so everybody take care. Thanks for watching. Be safe. And final words of wisdom. Read Section 8 of the Constitution. That will give you an idea on what their congressional power is. Matter of fact, I copied that and pasted it in the description of the video below. So you can just go right down there, but, always read your Constitution. Always. Matter of fact, I think my final parting quote before I bid adieu is, read your Constitution. And then read your state's Constitution. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be safe. Have a good night.